La la la, hey, yeah, yeah.
Welcome back. I guess we should explain, because when we left our last segment, we said we're going to be back with bleeds. And you're probably wondering, what the heck are they talking about?
Stop bleeding.
Well, you see, each and every month we talk to an Ottawa paramedic, and his name is Rob Wilson, and he joins us today, and bleeds is one of our topics, as well as shoveling snow. And I know you wanted to touch on that very quickly before we got into the bleeds. What did you want to say about shoveling snow?
With the first significant snowfall of the year scheduled for tomorrow, people should take into account that if they haven't done much strenuous activity over the summer, they should make sure they're able to do the snow shoveling before they start moving all the heavy wet snow.
Right.
Our cardiac arrest rate increases markedly during the first couple months of the winter because you'll have the elderly gentlemen or even middle-aged younger people going out that haven't done any exercise and shoveling the driveway. They get the chest pain and collapse, and that's where we'll find them at the end of the driveway in cardiac arrest.
Okay.
So take some breaks out there, everybody.
Viewers beware.
Do a quarter, break. Do another quarter, break.
All right, Derek?
Okay, I'm good. I'm with it. I'm with it. Now, next
good.
we want to talk about bleeds.
Yeah, we're going to deal with bleeds today. Soft tissue injuries are the major ones that you will deal with mostly with the first aid type basics.
Okay.
This is one of the first aid kits that Ottawa Paramedics carry.
All right, let me grab that so everybody can have a look.
It's fully stocked to do a good trauma call. A really big injury. But you can buy first aid kits that are prepared at a drugstore or any licensed provider.
Okay.
We have to make sure that people, when they're doing first aid, ensure they wear gloves because you got to protect themselves. These are nitro gloves. They protect us on the road, so I'll give a pair to Melanie. So
oh yes,
she's gonna
because I'm going to be performing some I was going to say some action on Derek, but some restorative action on Derek.
Restorative action. Great. I'm getting, a facial here? A facelift?
Don't bend over.
Jeez.
So there's two types of bleeds. There's an arterial bleed, which is blood coming from the heart. It's oxygenated, it's bright red. And then there's a venous bleed, which is blood that's going back to the heart, which is dark red in color. The most dangerous is the arterial because it spurts. Your heart is pumping it.
All right.
So I'm going to give Derek an injury. No, I'm not going to do an injury to Derek,
I'm just going to stab Derek here.
Hurt him. I'll take care of you.
So Derek has an arterial bleed to his arm.
Okay.
So I'll hand over the dressings. There's different types of dressings you can get. There's large dressings that are prepared at the store, and you can also make them yourselves. A towel is very good. A sock, diaper is very good as well. It has to be absorbent and lint-free. Or a feminine protection napkin would be good as well because it's absorbent.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know, actually. Great.
You want to make sure you don't use napkins or paper towel because that can break down inside the wound and get stuck in there, and then you worry about infection.
Okay.
Okay, so Derek's arm is injured.
My arm.
So Melanie is going to do the red principle, which is rest, elevate, and direct pressure. So we'll apply the dressing on.
Yeah, okay, like this?
Yep.
Oh, isn't this cute? It has its own little tie system.
Yeah, you can just wrap it around a couple times.
It's a fashionable gauze.
And then
Is it, though?
I'll give her this, which is a prepared bandage
Okay.
to wrap around the arm. And what you want to do is put as much pressure on to stop the bleed, but not cut off the circulation. That's why we also say don't use tourniquets anymore because you can affect the tissue after where the injury site is. You can actually kill the tissue.
Okay,
now, you heard
so
not to stop the circulation part, right?
Oh, I'm doing this rather tightly, aren't I?
I know, you're pretty excited about
seriously.
this. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wrapping it around. And should I be talking to him at this point?
Telling him everything's okay
Calm
and
down,
that he's doing very well, that he has an injury.
You have an injury.
I see that, dummy.
I'm the one who injured you.
I'm injured, not stupid. Come on.
Now, you have to make sure that you have your gloves on because it will spurt. And if there's clothes that are there, and you cut it off, it could spray. So if you have eye protection, you could wear it as well.
Okay, so really, I should have, either cut off
you would have exposed the
sleeve.
tissue and made to see what was going on.
Okay, so I'm wrapping it. I'm wrapping it. That's a lot of wrapping going on right now.
And then we can just tuck it underneath. You can just tuck it underneath one of the wraps.
Good practice for Christmas for you.
Yes, indeed.
And afterwards, if it starts to bleed through, you can put another dressing on and apply more pressure.
Hold the bleeding
it can
in, woman.
bleed through. And then what you want to do is get Derek to lie down.
Okay, Derek, you need to lie down.
right.
Get him to lie down on the floor, and you want to put him in what's called a shock position.
Okay.
Right.
Because people that are
That's what my
bleeding
legs
are
are,
losing
right?
their oxygenated blood, so you want to increase the blood flow to the brain, which is the most important organ to perfuse. So
Your
you
brain
elevate
is very
the legs,
important, Derek.
and then you also bring the arm up to stop. It's like when you hit your thumb with a hammer, you hold it up, it decreases the throbbing.
There you go. Okay, so now he's it's called red, right?
Yeah, rest, elevate, and direct pressure.
Okay, so you always elevate The legs.
Always elevate the legs unless you suspect a spinal injury.
Okay.
But if it's just a common leg injury like this, elevate the legs and keep them warm because they could go into shock.
Okay, and this is to keep the circulation...
To reperfuse the brain of
Okay.
oxygen because you can lose a significant amount of blood from an arterial bleed.
Okay. Oh, okay, we're talking arterial bleeds
and
here.
make sure that you have called 911 and you've sent a waiver to track us down because the paramedics have the tools to start treating and we can start refilling them basically with fluid.
Well, what happens... Sorry, Derek, I'm going to keep your arm up here.
Yeah,
what happens
don't
if you're
shake
all
it,
alone?
though.
What happens if you're all alone? Do you call 911 first and then you start applying...
You have your injured person, so
Right.
they can actually put pressure on while you go and call 911. But you have to ensure that we're notified right away because as paramedics, if we're not notified right away, the person is injured longer, and the goal is to get them to the next level of care, which is the physicians and the nurses in the trauma centers.
Got it. So rest, elevate
and direct pressure.
and direct pressure.
Right.
How are you feeling? Did I do a good job?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Oh,
And
good.
if it goes to the point where it keeps soaking through multiple dressings, you can just pull the dressing off and use your own hand because it can't soak through your hand. It takes you out of the loop, but you're not going to lose blood then.
Okay, excellent. Now, Derek, was that good for you?
No, that was good. No,
That was good?
You're getting this first aid stuff. It's a good thing Rob came because
I know,
it would have
it's-
been a disaster without you
I
here,
know.
Rob. I guarantee you.
It's always a pleasure, Rob, to have you with us, and we look forward to next month's segment.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Now, coming up next, we have hats from Maxine's hat store in the market, so stay tuned.